My love of God and my love for His Word is the source of my nationalism. Because I want to see it rule.
This is Matt Shay. If you're unfamiliar, he used to be a Republican representative in Washington State until he was removed for domestic terrorism. Not joking. He's removed for domestic terrorism. And he's making a little bit of a splash right now. He's in the news, so I want to talk about why. And I'll tell you exactly who the guy is, what he's famous for, and all of it. Do you have any idea how bad you have to mess up to get kicked out of Congress? A Congress that is controlled by the Republicans for domestic terrorism as a Republican? Real bad. I mean, from a party that puts up a banner at one of their, like, the CPAC speech, the Conservative Political Action Conference, we are all domestic terrorists, for a group that puts up a banner like that, and you get kicked out of the Republican Party for domestic terrorism? Holy Christ on a cracker, bro. He must have really messed up. And he did. He did. We'll get there. As I said, he was a representative for Washington State, not on a federal level, on a state level. And he was removed for domestic terrorism. And he got himself in hot water for endorsing this guy. I mean, there's a whole windy road I'll take you down. But this guy right here is a guy named Feucht or Sean Feucht or something. I don't know. Feucht. I don't know how to pronounce the last name. Total nutcase. Christian extremist. Let me just give you a little context for it. Listen to what Sean Feucht said late April 2023.
That's why we get called. Well, you're a Christian nationalist. You want the kingdom to be the government. Yes. You want God to come and overtake the government. Yes. You want Christians to be the only ones that, yes, we do.
There is something that deeply pisses me off about that stupid chuckle he does.
We wouldn't be a disciple of Jesus if we didn't believe that. We want...
There it is again. You hear that?
That. We want God to be in control of everything. We want believers to be the ones writing the laws. Yes, guilty as charged.
That's psychotic. That is absolutely psychotic. So Matt Shay officially endorsed that guy, Sean Feucht, I guess is how it's pronounced, Sean Feucht. He endorsed him and said, you know, he was giving him a Christian Nationalist Award at an event, late June 2023. I mean, these people are really connected to each other. There's Christian nationalism all through this.
Several years ago, somebody cut out of solid metal a Liberty Bell. And God's like, Matt, will you part with that and give it to my defender of liberty? And
God asked him to part with it and give it to his defender of liberty? Okay.
Of course, you got to say, yeah, okay, yes, Lord. What does that look like, right?
He believes that he's hearing voices from God. Quick interjection. I won't take long. I just wanted to tell you guys, YouTube's algorithm operates off of a few factors. Watch time, whether or not you subscribe, and whether or not you like something. So if you really want to help my channel, I would appreciate it if you guys watch the video to the end. If you don't watch it to the end, just watch a little bit longer than you would have otherwise. I would appreciate that very much. All right, let's get back to the video.
Sean, I just want to tell you that where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is liberty.
No.
And where you go, you not only bring liberty in the sense of like freedom, but you bring liberty for people's eyes to be open to the new and fresh revelation of who God is, who He really is. He's not some God sitting on a throne room that doesn't care about His people, but He's a God who transforms nations.
He doesn't care about His people. You could have fooled me. Aren't His people all over the earth? Isn't everybody on the face of the earth God's children? Kind of checked out there in Africa, didn't he? Hell, kind of checked out in Israel and Greece and everywhere. God, He checked out all across the world, didn't He? There are people suffering from top to bottom here. And this dude apparently believes that all of God's children are doing just dandy?
Doesn't care about His people, but He's a God who transforms nations. And He's using you as a tool to do that. So, the defender of liberty, Sean Feucht.
Feucht. Sean Feucht. Sean Feucht.
Feucht. We honor you.
Okay, so the point here is that Sean Feucht and Matt Shay are connected to each other, right? I'm trying to draw the connections here. I want to show you just how extreme this guy really is. Sean Feucht is completely off the rails, and this guy is close friends with him. This dude, I'm talking Matt Shay, he even wrote a manifesto. I'm dead serious, a manifesto, and you aren't going to believe it. I actually got a copy of it. It's crazy. I don't know if you guys were paying attention to politics at the time, but I think 2015, there was a group of right-wing extremists who took over a federal building in Washington. That's how Matt Shay became labeled a domestic terrorist and expelled from Congress. This is on his Wikipedia page here. He ran a violent right-wing chat group, or took part in it at the very least. Political violence, an investigation commissioned by Washington House of Representatives, which he was part of, reported on December 1st, 2019, that Shay had planned and participated in domestic terrorism on at least 3 occasions. This included his participation, organizing, planning, and promotion of the 2014 Bundy standoff in Nevada, the 2015 armed standoff in Priest River, Idaho, and the 2016 armed seizure of Malheur National Wildlife Refuge in Harney County, Oregon. Shay led a delegation of right-wing legislators from Oregon, Washington, and Idaho that met with law enforcement on January 9, 2016, in Burns, Oregon, and were appraised of confidential intended law enforcement strategies for dealing with the refuge occupiers. Shay then disclosed those details to Bundy, according to the report. Bundy was a terrorist who occupied a building, a federal building, and went on a big standoff against the U.S. government. And Matt Shay talked to law enforcement about the strategies they're going to use and then fed that information to the terrorists. That's who this guy is, if you wondered. That's who wrote this manifesto, Biblical Basis for War. That is insane. And if you think it sounds crazy, just wait until you hear what it has to say. It's like 4 pages long. It's his manifesto. And holy Christ, dude, listen to some of this. Biblical basis for war. God is a warrior. When is the time for war? When God says it's time. Prayer council. So a prayer council who claims to speak for God will tell a country when it's time for war. That's what this is saying. He's creating a system of governance where he is at the top of it, or some extremists are, who are interpreting the words of God to justify war. Fight to win so you don't have to fight again. 4 things to stay within God's will. Holy cause, holy leader, holy army, and holy camp. I.e., literally everything about the country, top to bottom, needs to be Christian extremists, like a Christian nationalist. The leader, the army, and the homeland, the camp. 4 ways to know it's time to fight. God reveals his will to the leader. He should have picked 3 because 3 is a holy number in the Bible. 4 ways to know it's time to fight. God reveals his will to the leader. Oh, that's fantastic. Yes. Just some guy telling us he believes it's true. Perfect. I think Jehovah's Witnesses are doing really well with that system right now, as are Mormons and Catholics. Leader inquires of God and talks to the prayer council, I guess. God puts it on the hearts of the people, or God starts the fight. Okay. Things for a holy army: sacrifice, worship, and prayer. Circumcision, and they have to be saved. Why circumcision? I don't understand. Don't do that. A vow or consecration to the Lord. So baptism, I guess. Trumpets and an ark. Apparently you need those things to be part of a holy army. Atonement and money. And praise to God before, during, and after the battle. He's not writing a biblical basis for war. He's writing a fanatic's manifesto. He's explaining how to get people whipped into a blood frenzy. The best warriors are not religious fanatics. The best warriors are thinkers. They're intelligent. They strategize. The best cannon fodder? Definitely fanatics, because you know that they're going to fight to the bitter end, no matter what it takes. Throw them out there. They're the first line. They're the first ones out the door to get stabbed or shot on their way out, so that the people on the back end who actually know what they're doing don't take the first hits. That seems to be the real strategy. 5 exemptions from service. Training a family, a new home. Newlyweds, a new wife. Farmer, new crops. Scared, fear means a lack of faith. Or you're a priest, duty to ministry in the temple. 10 rules of war. Conduct a census of all able-bodied males 18 to 45. Wow, 45? Even the U.S. doesn't do that. It's pretty late in life. Identify exemptions, which would be, you're training your new family, or you're a farmer, or you're scared, or whatever. So identify exemptions and appoint captains of tens, 50s, hundreds, and thousands. He's literally building a religious army, this dude is. Avoid bloodshed if possible. Make an offer of peace before declaring war. Not a negotiation or compromise of righteousness. So we're not really offering a negotiation. We're just saying, if you give in to us completely, if you let me take over your country, then we can have peace. I.e., if you don't fight, then we'll take you over. And that's just the end of it. That's psychotic, dude. Number 2, must surrender on terms of justice and righteousness. Stop all abortions. No same-sex marriage. No idolatry or occultism. No communism. And must obey biblical law. Those are the conditions that a different country has to meet before you agree to not go to war with them. Bro, what is wrong with you? If they yield to these demands, they must pay their share of work or taxes. If they do not yield, kill all the males. Why did he even write this? Did somebody commission this from him? What is going on in this dude's head? War is not waged against nations, but against man. No scorched earth or Sherman's march to the sea. Wow, that's crazy. So don't kill yourselves in a pointless endeavor, apparently. Cut down only non-food trees necessary for supplies. Safeguard production over politics or retribution. What? Do not attack or kill productive citizens. They are your base of support after the enemy is defeated. Okay, I didn't think that he was in favor of killing civilians, but the fact that he put it in there is disturbing as it gets. Law of booty. I have my own law of booty. Interesting he puts this in here. Law of booty. 1/2 went to those who fought. 1/2 went to those who didn't. Divide evenly to the individuals. Each gives tribute to Lord. Tithe to church and ministry. None to government. Removes temptation to fight. May use your part to give those who helped. Commanders received the same portion. If a greater portion, then they would have an incentive to fight. Wow. So steal from other countries that you just slaughtered and give it to your country. That's crazy. Talking about his organizational structure, battalion commander, company commander, so on and so forth. Biblically dealing with tyranny. Tyranny is never a divinely appointed means of government. Really? You don't say. Okay, interesting. A tyrant is someone who rules without God. Okay, I don't remember that being in the Bible. Tyranny is not a lawful form of government. Godless civil rulers are no more than bands of robbers. St. Augustine? Is that who we just quoted? Godless civil rulers are bands of robbers. So if you're not religious, or you don't bring religion into the equation when you're doing your politicking, you're just a band of robbers. When the rule of law dies as sin prevails throughout the land, tyranny is not far behind. Because he's not tyrannical. Christian nationalists aren't tyrannical. You're tyrannical. They're not tyrannical. You're tyrannical. That's insane. That is insane. So now we know who we're dealing with. Check this out. Late September 2023, this is what he had to say.
If the word is supposed to rule over the nations, and who is the word?
Your mother.
You see how people miss this? You watch this. If he's the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords over all nations, then the Lord is supposed to rule over all then the word is supposed to rule over all nations.
Well, he's finding his justification for invading foreign lands, like doing a new crusade, right? Remember back in, 1100 to like 12 or 1300 BCE, the Eastern Roman Empire, the Byzantines, like invaded a bunch of area, like Northern Africa and all over the place. The Arabic areas, the Islamic areas, they invaded them. Because they wanted them to be Christian too. You guys remember that? Insane. That's where this guy's head is at right now. He's aiming for a new crusade. Seriously.
The scripture says it. Okay, if that's the...
It doesn't. It's your interpretation of what the scripture says. Okay, now, the God of the Old Testament was psychotic as well. Just like you, Matt. But the God of the New Testament, Jesus and his belief system and all of his whatever, wasn't like that. Jesus was chill and calm and cool and collected, maxing, relaxing, all cool and all sitting outside playing some b-ball and whatnots. That's Jesus. That is your religion. You aren't from the Old Testament. You aren't like following the old laws. So what he's really doing is trying to find a justification for slaughtering innocent people, right?
Okay, if that's the case, then my nationalism is not being driven out of some weird thing of trying to conquer the world like...
Yes, it is. It is, Matt.
I don't know, the Nazis, the National Socialists.
Technically, that's what Nazi stood for, but Hitler absolutely hated the left. He hated communists. Those are some of the first people they sent away to camps. Communists, socialists, those types of people. People to the left of hunting the homeless for sport, you know? So I guess technically it was in the name, yes, but it was not comprised of socialists. The Nazi Party wasn't. But, you know, that nuance goes right out the window when you're dealing with an extremist like this.
I don't know, the Nazis, the National Socialists. My love of God and my love for his word is the source of my nationalism. Because I want to see it rule.
That's absolutely insane. Okay, so that brings us up to this controversy that he's just found himself embroiled in. So that guy that I covered a second ago, Matt Shay and Sean Feucht, I think, yeah. They were doing this thing together, this event, these two extremist fundamentalists holding this conference or whatever, playing music and everything, and who showed up? The Spokane, Washington mayor showed up, Nadine Woodward. Late August 2023. She showed up to give her thoughts on the subject. Check this out. This is where the controversy comes in. This is actually incredible.
Lord, encourage them. Give them courage, your courage, to stand on the foundation, the rock, Jesus.
I believe that this is Sean Feucht speaking right now.
Jesus Christ.
Okay, I know that this is like a religious symbol that they're doing, but giving Nazi salutes probably isn't the best look for people who are so close to Nazis ideologically. Maybe find a different thing to do when you're looking at speakers on a stage instead of sticking your hands up like this. This is seriously, I got to take a screenshot of this. This is a lot.
Give them right now unwavering ability to speak the truth into the darkness. And no matter what anybody says around them, they will glorify and honor and praise you in every single thing they do.
So this is Matt Shay speaking at the moment. I believe that Sean Feucht is right next to him right here. Sean Feucht and Matt Shay did this event together. And Nadine Woodward, the mayor of Spokane, showed up.
In Jesus' mighty name, and everybody in one gigantic shout, say,
yeah, they said that with their hands raised like a Hitler salute. Jesus, dude. So anyways, the mayor of Spokane, Washington, shows up there, and the city council, they passed a resolution 2023-0081, denouncing her actions. And it was fascinating. I've never heard of a city council passing a resolution to denounce somebody like this before. It was really interesting. So I just want to read like a couple sections here. A resolution formally denouncing Mayor Nadine Woodward for her actions that associated her with former Washington State Rep and alleged domestic terror. Not alleged. He did it. That's why he was removed from Congress, right? And domestic terrorist Matt Shay and known anti-LGBT extremist Feucht. Whereas Matt Shay represented the 4th Legislative District in the Washington House of Representatives from 2009 to 2021. Wow, this guy was in office for 12 years. What kind of damage did he do in that time? Seriously. And whereas an independent investigation commissioned by the Washington State House of Representatives found that Representative Shay, as a leader in the Patriot movement, planned, engaged in, and promoted a total of 3 armed conflicts of political violence against the U.S. government in 3 states outside the state of Washington over a 3-year period. And this independent investigation found that Shay has also used fear to intimidate those who directly oppose him politically. Sound familiar? And Shay and the Patriot movement rely on radicalization of individuals to the point they are willing to take up arms against the U.S. to carry out their objectives. You remember the biblical basis for war manifesto that he wrote? He believes this applies to the U.S. government and the citizenry. How did he get here? How did he get to this point? This is insane. Matt Shay has distributed a manifesto titled Biblical Basis for War, which in part states, if they do not yield, kill all males. And which includes me, by the way. And whereas on August 20th, 2023, Mayor Nadine Woodward was at a public event accepting the support of Matt Shay, and video images of the public event show that minutes before calling Mayor Nadine Woodward on stage, Matt Shay listed the problems he believes the country is facing, specifically naming homosexual marriage and transgender issues. And while thousands of people had to evacuate their homes over the same weekend due to numerous wildfires in our region, and while our brave first responders worked tirelessly to fight the wildfires, video images of the public event also show Mr. Feucht called for a fire that would consume Spokane. Holy shit, dude. And video images of the public event show that following her appearance on stage with Shay and Feucht, Mayor Woodward embraced Shay, Matt Shay, the guy that did all this stuff. And many members of the Spokane community have raised concerns about this public appearance and the implications of Mayor Woodward accepting support from Matt Shay. So, bottom line, Nadine Woodward denounced Matt Shay, or denounced going to the event or whatever, after this took place, after they passed this resolution. I've never seen this before, but that's fantastic. I'm so glad that they had all their facts in a line and laid it all out for everybody to see. That couldn't make me happier. And they directly called out the mayor for her actions. That's fantastic. I love everything about it. So, of course, Matt Shay feels like he's a persecuted minority when he is neither of those two things in any sense of the terms. And starts complaining that he's like being mistreated and all that stuff. Listen to this, late September 2023.
We did exactly what we were supposed to as a community here a few weeks ago. We prayed.
Yeah, I don't think anyone has a problem with that.
We not only prayed for our community, we prayed for our leaders.
I know that it's a Christian symbol, but seriously, maybe tone down the Hitler salute. That was the only qualm that I had about the fact that you gathered. I mean, all of the stuff that they said there was psychotic too. I don't care if Christians gather and talk about things. That really doesn't bother me at all. It's all the other stuff surrounding it. Oh, and the fact that he's a domestic terrorist. I'm not too happy with that one either.
We prayed for our leaders. And last night, the Spokane City Council decided to issue a decree, a denouncement.
Actually, a resolution that describes everything that he did as a domestic terrorist.
A decree, a denouncement of that prayer.
No, of Matt Shay. We just read it.
And some of those who prayed it. And for the first time in modern history, a governmental entity decreed the persecution of Christians.
They decreed the persecution of Christians? This is just a resolution denouncing her behavior. This wasn't any kind of like, oh, you're going to be removed from office or anything like that. It was the fact that she showed up to an event with a domestic terrorist. She has no place there. Nobody in the political realm should ever associate themselves with Matt Shay in any way, shape, or form. He's a domestic terrorist. Cut him out completely. I don't care if he's like the father of your kid. Well, okay. In that case, it's okay to talk to him, but you really f***ed up somewhere along the line if that's the case. What was Nadine Woodward, the mayor of Spokane, even thinking? Of course she's going to be denounced by, like, everybody. I just can't believe the city council did it. That's fantastic for them. This guy needs help. This manifesto is nuts. I mean, giving us options that we can use as a soldier of God. Use of deception, not generally speaking, only very specifically. Avoiding being an accomplice to sin. Do not owe the truth to someone who will abuse it. Okay, wow, fascinating. So you shouldn't use deception, usually. However, you don't owe the truth to someone who will abuse it. So you can lie your heart out to somebody who is not part of God's army. But people who are part of God's army, limited specific cases of deception. Wow, man. This guy needs help for real. And any politician who goes to an event with him should be primaried and removed from office, seriously. Let me know what you think about him.